up on the Horse Heaven Hills, mainly surrounded by, my two older siblings and and then going to work on the farm with my dad and grandpa, whether it be just riding around on the scooter in the shop and picking up bolts and tinkering around, or sitting on the lunchbox in the tractor, trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to proceed into my career. Was not really an if, but a where and how, as far as where my niche would be within the ag industry. From a young age, I always liked had a knack for taking things apart, putting them back together, figuring out how they worked. And so my parents always said, you should be an engineer, before I even knew that wasn't just a train conductor. So as I got into later middle school, high school, I started to look into what that truly meant. And one of my ag advisors in high school actually mentioned that ag engineering was an actual degree in some places, and kind of a field, if you will. And so I started looking into that. I grew up on a dryland farm on Horse Heaven, where if you know anything about Eastern Washington or the Western U.S., it's one of the driest places in the country. So water was gold. It was a valuable resource, and we had no control over when it came and how much. So getting into irrigation, and with that kind of in my back pocket, or more of a backbone really of how I was raised, there's an appreciation that kind of carried into all of the problems we're seeing right now across the Western U.S. with water shortages and widespread drought, and trying to manage our water resource effectively, and what's going on underneath the surface as far as groundwater and surface water, and what you're actually doing when you stick a pump in a river or in the ground and pump it out and put it on a field. So understanding what's kind of going on there, and what effect that has not only on the location you're pumping from, but the surrounding area. And also, there's some basic chemistry that some people don't like chemistry, but I did. And very important when you're dealing with, especially with drip systems, because you're dealing with smaller emitters, things that are a little more sensitive than a big hold sprinkler or an end gun, or flooding for that matter. The chemistry of your water that you're pumping out is important, and just having a basic understanding of what happens, and just based on different chemical properties of the water and pH and what have you. In general, my role is to oversee the irrigation systems for all of the St. Michelle Estate vineyards. Most of what I do is in the Washington vineyards, and really assisting the management staff on site with anytime we're making changes to systems, whether it's repairs or improvements, and then just making sure that the technological side of things, the automation, the record keeping, and just kind of the general strategy of irrigation is consistent and thought out. I would definitely say something that I learned in class and still use right now is learning about how crops, any crop, whether it's onions or it is wine grapes, how they grow their roots within a soil, what kind of soils they prefer, which could be, could vary by region or by variety, but learning a general idea of that and how readily they take up water, and then how fast they use water. So they're ET essentially. So learning about evapotranspiration and how it relates to a crop and to its region and a variety is very important, and that's something I'm still learning about, trying to get better at right now. If I were to go back into college and kind of widen my breadth and kind of backfill some of the knowledge that I wish I had learned formally in school. It would have been probably plant science and horticulture. Those are the main things, at least with my role right now, that I've had to learn more about to fill in the blanks. The rest of the picture was pretty filled out as far as the soil and water, but the item that we're actually focused on here, that we're using that soil and water to grow, is the plant. So I'd say the best part about my job is that it's very dynamic. I have that perfect, what I envisioned when I was younger of working as an ag engineer, which almost was overly optimistic in some cases, of that 50-50 balance of working in the office and working in the field. I mean, just the ability to influence where our vineyards go from a technological standpoint into the future.